So today we are going to be discussing the changes in ITIL as it moves from ITIL 3 to ITIL 4. I'm Ashley Nye with Phoenix TS, and today I'm very excited to have Virginia Scuderi join us. Virginia is a subject matter expert and has been teaching ITIL for over 15 years. Virginia, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for asking me to explain the changes in ITIL 4.
Oh, great. Yes, we're very excited. We've heard that it's a lot of major changes in terms of the whole ITIL infrastructure. So we're very, very excited to hear about them from you. Can you share with us some of your experience within ITIL?
Well, yes, from an instructor perspective, I've been teaching ITIL since about 2003, and I started with ITIL version 2. And worked my way through ITIL Service Manager, which was the highest level at that time. And as ITIL 3 was introduced, and then the revisit or refresh in 2011, I did earn my ITIL Expert at that time as well. So I've been teaching all the different levels through a lot of different versions of ITIL, and ITIL 4 is exciting and more encompassing. So I think people will enjoy it once they get over the shock.
Well, thank you for that. And can you just describe to us what the shock is?
Well, in the past, there have been changes to processes, and maybe to, between version 2 and ITIL 3, there was a change in structure of how the processes were organized from just a couple of books to different stages in a life cycle of a service. And now ITIL has kind of shaken things up completely. And ITIL, I should say the processes now are just a part of a much bigger organization and structure for organizing and managing IT services. So we're not just learning processes anymore. Now we're learning this overall structure.
Wow. And how is that, like how are organizations going to be handling this change, ones that are already using ITIL?
Well, it just seems that, it seems like every 10 years or so, ITIL's new version comes out. And over the last 10 years, or especially since 2011, 9 years, it has really been obvious that IT is moving much faster, and we're doing a lot more with bots and artificial intelligence and cloud computing and all of these different areas of service management. And so ITIL now is encompassing, in some ways, it's a little broader and reminiscent of the way we taught version 2, which was more like a 30,000-foot view. Sort of an overview of what we needed to accomplish is kind of where it seems like, especially the current foundation class is going. So we're getting, again, terminology, understanding of what's necessary in order to really provide IT services in what's really more a collaboration and what they reference as a co-creation with other stakeholders, including customers. So it's broader in a lot of ways. And so we're not focusing just on the step-by-step processes and looking at it more holistically, which is broader. And so it seems more general.
Okay.
And yet it encompasses more than just processes.
Well, that's very exciting. Yeah. So now, and from my understanding, this has also changed the structure of ITIL. So before, that pyramid model was always used, and now the structure has changed a little bit in terms of how it's designed. Is that correct?
Do you mean from the perspective of certification, the certification scheme?
Yes. So how the certification scheme now works. It seems like it's moving from kind of that pyramid structure to, it seems like it's a wider breadth. Is that correct?
It's true. And even between the pyramid structure of the certification scheme, getting us all the way to beyond ITIL Expert, there was, with the introduction of the ITIL Practitioner course, that scheme sort of changed again into more of a linear kind of a form, only because ITIL Practitioner was originally designed to be a sort of a bridge, if you will, between the foundation concepts and implementing those concepts through continuous service improvement. So that pyramid structure for certification went to a more linear perspective with practitioner running all the way through from foundation on one end all the way to the highest level on the other end, indicating that practitioner really could have been taken at any point in time. So now the certification structure is much different. And in fact, all of the ITIL books have not even been written.
Oh, wow.
As in the past.
Okay.
So understanding that this is more of a holistic view. We right now just have the foundation handbook, and I think it's called a handbook, and it's what the first exam is going to be based on. And then in order to progress, there will be some new study necessary. And so the structure has changed quite a bit.
Okay. So in your opinion, who are some of the best candidates to be going through an ITIL training course or just learning ITIL in general under this new ITIL 4?
Yeah, it's really the same as before. Anybody who has any participation in IT service management and creating and providing the service of IT. So from service desk analysts, management, supervisors, directors, other providers, vendors. It's going to be necessary for everybody to understand how they work together to provide the best in IT service. And we're really more concerned with the idea of the value that we bring.
And do you see or envision more organizations adopting an ITIL framework under this new version?
I think so, because it's really necessary to have some idea of where to go and how to provide the best service. And as in the past, ITIL still is a framework. So it's still providing guidance. And so the guidance is, as we've always said, we adopt ITIL and then we adapt it to what works in our environments. And this really does seem to provide more opportunity for adapting.
Okay, that's awesome. That's great information to know. So Virginia, what is the most exciting change in your opinion in ITIL 4?
I think that the most exciting change is that we're co-creating value with all of the stakeholders, including customers. So it's not just IT delivering service, and we've been evolving through every version. We've been evolving to incorporate and include customer feedback and working with customers more and more, and it's even more so in this release. So we're talking more about value streams, and there are lots of variables with how the value can be delivered with that co-creation and involvement with the other stakeholders. In addition, other frameworks are being more encompassed and recognized and compatible with this version as well, like Lean, Agile, DevOps. So it's really kind of rolling them together so that they work better together, and not just this is ITIL and these are
You have to do things this way.
There's a lot of reference to DevOps actually in this writing as well.
That's very good to know. I love that idea of co-creation. I think that that's something that lacks from a lot of frameworks. That there's, so as you said, it's a guide and you have to adapt it, but there are so many stakeholders involved that, and a lot of times they don't get drawn into the conversation until it's too late to make those changes that are really necessary. That's so right. I love that idea of co-creation. Right. Is there anything else that you think that the Phoenix TS students or team would love to know about ITIL 4?
I think people often ask me, and I was misguiding people at the beginning because we didn't know what this version was really going to do. And they're really breaking away from their past with regard to bridging to new versions. So it's always asked, and people have always wondered how they're going to upgrade from their current ITIL certification to the new certification. And there really, in the past, there had been a bridge. And just the differences between the prior version and the current version, like between 2 and 3, were taught. And then if you passed understanding the differences, then you were upgraded. This arrangement and I want to say theory, I'm not sure if that's really even the right word, but the whole arrangement and understanding of co-creation and where processes really lie with regard to practices as part of the bigger value chain really requires education from the beginning. So people who have certification already will find some familiarity when we get down into the practices and processes, yet that's not where we start. Okay. So right now there is no bridge, and it doesn't look like there's intended to be any bridge from prior versions to this version. So it's going to be important for everyone to start again. And if you have a ITIL certification already, there will be some areas of familiarity. For example, the idea of the 4 Ps, people, processes, partners, and products. We still have 4 dimensions, so the terminology is a little different. And those 4 dimensions still sound a lot like people, processes, products, and partners, but they're broader and more encompassing. And it's where processes then become part of the value stream and the value chain that we go deeper.
Well, that's really great to know. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Thank you again for joining us today. This is very, very helpful, and I know that a lot of our listeners are going to glean some great information from this. Again, Phoenix TS, we are a training provider, and we are offering the ITIL 4. So if you have questions about that, you can contact me, Ashley Nye, at 240-667-7507. Thank you again, Virginia, and have a great day.
Thank you. You too.